Hi friend, how are you on this June 27th? We are for the 27th challenge, quilt challenge. I'm Pat Sloan, and if you look at your calendar, it says size matters. That can mean a lot of things, right? And because this focus of the month is on our quilting our own quilts, many people find it really, kind of doable. That might be the best word, right? You find it doable to have a smaller quilt in your home machine. Maybe, the table runners, a baby quilt. But once you start to get up in size, like even a lap quilt, sometimes it feels a little daunting. Now, one of the things I want you to think about is that you've been spending all this time this month, hopefully, right? Yeah, tell me, nod yes, you have. So you've been spending time practicing or working on your panels, or maybe a lot of you have gone and graduated up to a bigger quilt to quilt on. If you've been free motion quilting, you've noticed how with a bigger quilt, you can change the position of the quilt to have less of it within the well of the machine. Like right now here, I've put a great big quilt up for while I'm talking. I can't actually demo it, which is what I would have liked to be doing. But when you get a bigger quilt, if you're free motion quilting, you don't have to have all of the quilt in the little hole, the little opening. It's called the throat of the machine. It's a mental game. You look at a big quilt and you think, oh my gosh, but look at the quilt is half of that size, because half of that size, and then if you fan fold it, like I showed you on the one video earlier this month, when you fan fold it, that will let you put just the area you need in there. And then when you're free motion quilting, keep moving and adjusting it so that you're not shoving the whole quilt. What happens is people start working and they start working towards one side and shoving, and all of a sudden they're trying to put like the entire width or the entire length of their quilt in the opening. And out on this left side, there's nothing, like maybe like 5 inches on the border or something like that. So stop and think every so often, like where are you at and how can you reshift the quilt? You also, like I've talked about, don't want the drag. That's another issue. But if you're using your walking foot, it becomes a bit more like think of it like a puzzle. Look at where you're going, what you're doing, how can you have less of it in the opening at one time. When you're walking foot quilting, I think there are points in time with a bigger quilt that you're just going to have to deal with the bulk in the opening, and that fan folding will work really, really well. All right. So there's another thing I want to tell you about size matters, because I'm not a ruler junkie per se. Probably if you looked at my rulers, you'd think I was, but but I do think that having the right size ruler is super important. And one of the rulers that I use is a really large ruler. So Greg's going to show you that. I use these 20 and a half inch, depends on when you purchased it. Like mine is a 20 and a half, yeah. So you might have a very old one, or if you are given one, it might be 20 inches. But it's a 20 and a half inch square ruler. And I think when it comes to size matters, I think this might be the largest ruler, square ruler that's out there. And I do think it is well worth it. I use it for squaring up bigger quilt blocks because I can put the entire ruler on top of the quilt block. I also love it for trimming. So I will put this whole ruler on the quilt when I'm trimming off the edges before I do the binding, and then I can shove this whole ruler. If I need some more length or something, I can put a long ruler that kind of butts up against it. So for me, my big size matters is having that large ruler, and I do use it quite a bit. So if you have been thinking, hey, I really would like to have a little more stability when I'm trimming large blocks or when I'm trimming my quilt, that is where I really find the benefit. Okay, fun stuff now. I have been working with the quilt shop, The Confident Stitch. Kate is the owner. It's a lovely, lovely shop. Someday I'll hope to visit her. But she is one of the new shops that I'm working with, and I showed you some things earlier, and I'm going to show them to you again because a few of the friends were asking me about the club. But the fun part is Kate is doing a sale of her fat quarters. So if Greg, you want to roll down here. So do you remember the tomato fabric I showed you? That's a fat quarter I got from The Confident Stitch. And she is running a sale from today, it's already started, until June 30th. You can get 10 fat quarters for 20 bucks. So this is one of the ones I got when I picked some things up. So you want to get in on that sale if you are looking to build your collection. Now the club that she has are these swatch service. It's a swatch service. So you can actually purchase just one, or you could purchase a couple. So this is what the package that comes. And Greg's going to open the cotton one, and we're going to flip it. There's Kate. She is super nice. And what she did for the cotton club right now is she used my rainbow, the Andre Tutte Bene, everything will be all right. She used the fabrics. Go ahead and open it up. She used the fabrics in the club to make. No, turn it side. No, turn it this way. Yeah, yeah. So she used the fabrics in the club to make the rainbow quilt. So this is what the fabrics look like. Again, they're all cotton, so these are all quilting cottons. And then underneath she tells you about them. So she gives you a little info over here, tells you about them, and these actually all will pull off, so that if you wanted to add them to your scrap pile or your stash for using small things, you can. They're usable. You don't have to toss it away. But this is a gorgeous, gorgeous package for the club. Now under the video, I have a link to the sale and to the club. Now, I do want to show you she does garments. She has a lot of garment service. I got 2 patterns to do clothing, so who knows when that's going to happen now, but I do have 2 patterns to do clothing. And this is the Cool Club, which has the light blues, and it's for clothing. So if you are doing garments, or you want some fabrics, see some fabrics that are not quilting cottons, that's this. There's 2 clubs for that. There's 1 club for that, but she sent me 2 of them to see. So here's the garment in the warm tones. Okay, so I have a link under to this. So if you're into clothing and you want this, I think some of these are just so gorgeous. I would love a little top out of this one. I think that's really pretty. And I love this linen for a pillow. That is so nice. Okay, there is that. When you get your order, she has these really fun little tags that says, this took forever. That cracks me up. So they're not for sale. When you get an order, she sends that to you. And this is the card that she sends along. So I have a link below so you can get over to see what that is all about. If you're interested in getting some swatches in the mail, I know a couple of our friends that quilt along with Pat Sloan asked me if I would just show that again and link over to it again at the Confidence Stitch. So down below. Okay, so coming up, what is this? This is Saturday. So on Monday, the Jolly Bar Books sampler sew along finally starts. Yay! And lucky me, I have made all the blocks. Yay! So I don't have to ask my friends to make those ones. I was like, yes, those were done. Those were all done. So I wanted to show you again. I got 2 more. Well, I didn't. Greg got 2 more of the blocks out. So there's the two more of the colors I'm using. I'm using the canning jar Jolly Bar, and so show the sampler. So here's what the sampler is. We'll be doing a row at a time, and the patterns are in the Jolly Bar book. Greg, could you just flip open 1 or 2 pages there? Yeah, just like there, so you can see. Here is in the book, it shows you what they did is set it up to have the quilt pattern, but they also did everything in solids so that it was just a little different, so you could see each of the patterns as a solid. So there's another pattern, and some use 1 Jolly Bar, some, flip again, some will use, there, just stop here. Yeah, some will use 2 Jolly Bars. 2 Jolly Bars is actually a layer cake. So if you have a layer cake, you just slice it in half, because a Jolly Bar is 5 by 10. Okay.
Is that your sign?
Yeah, buy this. Greg doesn't like seeing the buy this sign. Oh, yes. Such is life. So just on a personal update, I'm doing really well. Greg is doing amazing. Somebody called us Team Sloan. So Team Sloan here doing all the things, but I have, you know, the mobility in this hand, the fingers, I can press a little bit. You know, I really can't pick up too much, but I can press things. So I'm doing really well, and I'm trying to at least read a lot of what you're writing. So thank you so much for being part of my quilting, and you know, you can look down below and see the links to my store link. So if you're shopping, if you use my links, it helps our small family business, and I thank you so much. It really does. Okay, I love you. Have an amazing weekend. I will see you tomorrow. Mwah. Bye-bye.